My name is Emily Carter, and for most of my adult life, I thought I knew exactly what I wanted in love. I had a checklist in my head: tall, ambitious, wealthy, smooth-talking, and the kind of man who turned heads when he walked into a room. That, to me, was the definition of a dream man. But life has a way of teaching you that real love isn't carved from fantasy, it's built from reality. This story begins in Denver, Colorado, where I was working as a marketing consultant at a mid-sized firm. My days were packed with client meetings, strategy presentations, and endless cups of coffee. That's where I met Daniel Brooks, a quiet but dependable man from the IT department. Daniel wasn't the type who commanded attention. He wasn't flashy, loud, or intimidating. He was steady, kind, always willing to help anyone who needed it. At first, I didn't notice him beyond the occasional work interaction, fixing my laptop when it froze, recovering files I had mistakenly deleted. Every time, he offered the same gentle smile and calm voice. I appreciated him, but never once considered him as someone who might matter in my personal life. To me, Daniel was ordinary. Meanwhile, I was chasing after men who looked like the ones on my checklist. Brandon, the charismatic lawyer in designer suits. Chase, the entrepreneur with big ideas and an even bigger ego. Tyler, the personal trainer who spent more time admiring his reflection than listening to me. They were exciting, sure, but none of them made me feel safe or truly cared for. Each relationship ended the same way: me, drained and unfulfilled. One evening, after yet another disappointing breakup, I found myself stuck late at the office. My eyes burned from staring at the screen, and my frustration was mounting. Daniel happened to walk by, noticed my stress, and asked gently, "Want me to order some food? You look like you've had a long day." I hesitated, but eventually agreed. He ordered Chinese takeout, and we ate together in the break room. For the first time, I saw a side of him I hadn't noticed before. He had a dry sense of humor that caught me off guard. He told me stories about his small-town childhood, his love for hiking in the Rockies, and how he often rescued stray animals. He wasn't trying to impress me. He was simply being himself. And strangely, I found myself enjoying his company more than I expected. Over the next few weeks, our late-night work sessions became routine. We'd sit side by side, finishing projects, sharing snacks, laughing at random things. Slowly, I started to feel a warmth around him, a kind of comfort I had never experienced with anyone else. But deep down, I kept reminding myself, Daniel wasn't my dream man. One Friday evening, after a long week, Daniel asked if I wanted to join him for a hike the next morning. I almost said no, thinking I had better things to do. But something in me said yes. The next day, we hiked a trail in Boulder. The crisp mountain air, wildflowers, and breathtaking views were unforgettable. Daniel walked beside me, pointing things out, telling stories, making sure I had enough water. When we reached the summit, I remember sitting there, looking out at the world below, feeling a peace I hadn't felt in years. Daniel wasn't trying to sweep me off my feet, he was simply sharing himself with me. For a moment, I wondered if I had been chasing the wrong kind of dream all along. But reality caught up with me. A few days later, I was at a party with friends when someone teased me about spending time with Daniel. "He's sweet," they joked, "but he's not exactly the kind of guy you brag about, right?" I laughed along, but their words stung. That night, when Daniel asked if I saw us as more than friends, I panicked. I thought about judgment, my expectations, my perfect man checklist, and I blurted out the cruelest words I've ever spoken. "Daniel, you're amazing, but you're not my dream man. I just don't see you that way." The hurt in his eyes was instant, though he tried to cover it with a small smile. He nodded and said quietly, "I understand, Emily. Thanks for being honest." Then he walked away. At first, I told myself I had done the right thing, that it was better to be upfront than to lead him on. But as days turned into weeks, I felt emptier without him. I missed the late-night talks, the laughter, the comfort of being truly understood. None of the so-called dream men could fill that void. One afternoon, I saw Daniel in the cafeteria. He was sitting with Sarah, a new hire, and they were laughing together. For the first time, I felt a sharp pang of jealousy. That's when the truth hit me: I didn't want a fantasy. I wanted Daniel. The real man who had been there all along. But it was too late. Daniel had pulled back, guarding his heart from me. I tried reaching out, inviting him for coffee, sending long apology messages, but he politely declined. His replies were short and formal. The warmth we once shared was gone. Months later, I watched from a distance as Daniel and Sarah grew closer. Eventually, they started dating. I smiled, congratulated him, but inside, my heart ached. I had thrown away something real because of shallow expectations. Years later, I still look back with regret. I once told Daniel he would never be my dream man. But the truth is, he was everything I needed. Patient, kind, steady, real. And sometimes, the greatest love stories aren't about the dazzling ones who take your breath away at first glance, but about the people who quietly stand by your side, offering you a love that lasts. I lost Daniel because of my own foolishness. Though life has moved on, a part of me will always wonder what could have been if I had only seen him for who he truly was. Not the dream man I imagined, but the real man who could have been my everything. So if you're listening to my story, let this be a reminder: don't let shallow expectations blind you to those who genuinely care. Sometimes the greatest love is standing right in front of you, waiting to be noticed, before it's too late.